This is our second video for the practice test on our polynomial unit. So the last part is talking about mixed review. So what do you remember? Some of these things might come from our unit that we're currently in. Others might come from previous units. Number 16, which of the following shows 4x squared minus 7x minus 2 factored correctly? Okay, so I just want to factor that. This is a multiple choice question, so you can do any test taking strategy here. I would probably recommend just multiplying these out because multiplication is a lot faster and seeing which ones fit. So I'm looking at the 4x squared. So to make 4x squared, I could do 4x and x, or I could do 2x and 2x. So as of right now, the only one that cannot work is c, so I would cross c out because 4x and 7x do not make 4x squared. So get that one out of the way. Next, to make the last number, we're going to need to do 2 and 1. So 1 and 2, 3 and 5. Nope, that makes 15. So get this one out of the way. And then 2 and 1. So it's between A and D. And I'm just going to look at A first, and then I'll look at D if it doesn't work. So the middle term is found with the outer and inner check. So 4x and negative 2 make negative 8x, and then 1x, or 1 times x makes 1x. If I put those together, does that make negative 7x? Yes, it does. So this is my answer. If I went over and tried D, okay, so my outer check would be 2x, my inner check would be negative 4x, and that together doesn't make negative 7x. Okay, so I was just multiplying, and that's the way that I did it. If you wanted to factor, you could make your generic rectangle and diamond, and that would work as well. Number 17, which of the following shows x squared plus 4 factored correctly? So hopefully in the last lesson you remember that this is similar to a difference of squares, but with the middle sign not being negative, this is actually not factorable. If you wanted to, you could multiply these out to see if it makes the middle, or if it makes this polynomial, or you could try to factor it, and you're going to get to the situation where there aren't any factors of positive 4 that make 0. Which of the following shows this one factored correctly? This one is a difference of squares. The first term is a squared number, the last is a squared number, and the middle sign's negative. So with the difference of squares, we put x's at the beginning to make the x squared. To make the 64, it's going to be 8 and 8. That's the square root of 64. And then we put opposite signs. So plus 8 and minus 8. So it looks like C's our correct answer. Number 19, simplify the expression using positive exponents. So remember, you cannot be simplified with a negative exponent. I see a negative exponent here. So in the last unit, we learned that if you have a negative exponent, you can change the location. So if it's in the numerator, go ahead and move it down to the denominator. So the 8 stays up top, the y to the 4 stays up top, but the x to the negative second needs to go down low. Alright, sometimes you can simplify, but in this case we can't. Hopefully no one picks D because that one still has a negative. Never simplify with a negative. And the answer that's matching looks like it is A. Number 20, solve the system of equations. So you can do multiple strategies. This was a couple units ago. So solving systems, we learned that we can do that by graphing both. This one would not be a good one to graph because it's not in slope-intercept form. We learned that we could use substitution. This one wouldn't be bad for substitution, but there is an easier method, and that is elimination. Alright, so I'm going to go with elimination here. The way that we eliminate is we want to make sure that one of our terms will eliminate when we add the two equations together. And if I was to add the equations together, the x's would eliminate. So I can go ahead and start using that. And then 3y and negative 2 makes 1y. And 11 and negative 6 makes 5. So now that we have y is 5, we can plug that back in to figure out what is x. I'm going to plug the 5 back into the top. So I have x plus 3 times 5 equals 11. X plus 15 equals 11. Subtract 15 from both sides. And I'm getting negative 4. So negative 4, 5 is our answer. And that's C, negative 4, 5. If you did not know how to do that, though, this is a multiple choice option. You could plug it in and then see which ones work, right? It's a good test-taking strategy. 21. Write the equation of a line that passes through the 2 points. You could graph the 2 points and start graphing the lines and see which ones go through the 2 points. Or you can figure out what's the slope of the 2 points and the y-intercept, and then you can write your equation. And I'm going to do that strategy. So I want to find the slope of the 2 points. So to find the slope, we find our change in our y's divided by our change in the x's. Okay? So we had a formula for it. It was y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. But once again, that's just the change in y's over the change in x's. So I like to just go from here to here. It doesn't really matter which one you call point 1 or point 2. So from negative 3 to negative 1, it went up 2. That would be the difference of those two numbers. If you wanted to check, you could plug it in. And then from negative 2 to 2, it went up 4. So my slope is 1/2. Okay, 1/2 there. And then now I need to find my y-intercept. So for my y-intercept, I'm going to use the equation y equals mx plus b and figure out what is my b. So y equals mx plus b is our slope-intercept form. I know my slope is 1/2. I want to figure out what b is, and I'm going to do that by plugging in one of the points. And I'm going to plug in this point 2, negative 1. So if I plugged it in, the negative 1 is the y, the x is the 2, and I still don't know b, so I'm solving for b. If I multiply 1/2 times 2, 1/2 of 2 is 1. If I subtract 1 from the other side to get the b by itself, I get negative 2 is equal to b. So my b is negative 2, my m was the 1/2, so I should see an equation with y equals 1/2 x minus 2. And there it is, y equals 1/2 x minus 2. All right, so that's the way that we learned, but once again, if you did not know that, just graph the 2 points and then graph the lines and see which one goes through the 2 points. And then question 22, solve the equation using the zero product property. So this is one that we talked about a couple classes ago. It was in one of our homework assignments that we looked at. So the zero product property just means that if you are multiplying two numbers and the product is 0, one of the two numbers has to be 0. So we're going to consider what would make this number or this parenthesis 0, and then what would make this one 0. And the way that we do that is we actually just set each one equal to 0. Okay, so what would x be to make this 0? We'll just solve for x. Add 1, 3x equals 1, x equals 1/3. So that's an answer. And if you look at the other parenthesis, x plus 2 is equal to 0, subtract 2, and we get negative 2. So those are my two answers for this equation. 1/3 and negative 2. 1/3 and negative 2. Be careful with the signs. The signs are a little tricky. All right. So all of this is your test. I'll have this view for you so that you can just see all the answers. Sometimes it's helpful just to go to the end and look at the answers. So here's your test. Let me know if you've got any other questions on it. Make sure you guys are practicing the study guide. The test will look very similar. My thought is, though, I probably won't have all of these review questions. I'll probably have you do 1 or 2 of them, and then if you do all of them, I'll give you extra credit for the review. Okay? So that's the test. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this helpful.